I want to share with you today, precious people of God, the difference between a miracle and healing. Many people think those two are one and the same. And that's why they can often get confused and think God didn't move, and where is God with my healing? You see, God promises healing in the Bible. He sometimes does miracles. We get confused. The difference is a miracle is instantaneous and out of the bounds of natural law. A healing sometimes can take an hour, a day, a week, or a month, sometimes a couple of years. People will say to me, "Brother, how long do I have to stand in faith for my healing?" I ask them a question every time. Are you dead yet? I usually get the same answer. If they're not dead, then you need to keep standing in faith, because God is not finished. The Bible tells us, Philippians 1:6, he who began a good work will be faithful to complete it. When we'll have crusades, sometimes someone will come up to me and say, "I'm so discouraged I didn't get my miracle." I don't understand that. See, when I see someone else receive a miracle, the first thing is, I'm so excited for them because they're getting something wonderful as a precious gift from God. But the second thing I'm thinking is, I'm looking at their miracle and going, God is not a respecter of persons. If He did a miracle for them, He'll do it for me too. So it encourages me to stand in faith. When I see other miracles, I'm not discouraged for my own need. I'm encouraged because I know the same God who hears their need and meets their need is the same God who will meet my need too. But beyond that, I have an understanding. You see, God knows what we need. You know, we see in the book of John chapter 9, the healing of the man born blind. Jesus picked up the dirt from the ground and He put mud on this man's eyes. And He sent him to the pool of Siloam, which means sent. I used to think, well, Jesus could have just said, eyes be open. But He sends him to this pool. Now, He didn't send a deaf man to the pool, He sent a blind man. How hard must that have been? This man must have had to ask directions, gotten frustrated, stumbled and fallen down. But you see, here's what happened. You see, first he was discouraged, but then his discouragement turned into determination. His determination ignited his inward eye of faith. You see, if your inward eye of faith is not ignited, you can't see the glory and the miracles of God. Jesus knew exactly what He needed, and He knows exactly what you need to give you your healing in your life. And sometimes it's an instantaneous miracle, but sometimes it's a healing. In my life, I've had several times where I've received instant miracles. I had a knee with torn ligaments and I prayed and instantly it was healed. But you know, several years ago, after praying and seeing thousands of people healed, I received a wonderful experience. You see, God didn't bring diabetes into my life, the enemy did. God doesn't bring our sickness. The Bible tells us, John 10:10, the devil comes to seek, steal, and destroy, but Jesus came to give life and life abundantly. So Jesus brings the abundant life. So you see, the enemy brought the diabetes into my life. I had a sugar that was so high, I should have been in a coma at about 400 points. But you see, the Bible also tells us in Romans 8:28 that God will use all things for good for those who love Him and are called according to their purpose. You know, I went to the doctors. They told me I'd be on insulin for the rest of my life. I said to the doctor, I'm a healing evangelist. I teach people Jesus heals. I can't stand phoniness and hypocrisy. I can't take the medicine. They said, you'll die in 4 months if you don't take it. Your sugar's so bad you should be in a coma. I went and I prayed. I cried out to Jesus. I said 2 verses to Jesus. I love quoting the Bible to Jesus. 2 Corinthians 4:8, I'm pressed in but not crushed. I'm persecuted but not abandoned. I'm perplexed but not in despair. I'm struck down but I'm not destroyed. And I said, Jesus, one more thing. Job 13:15, even you slay me, I put my trust in you. I said, Jesus, doctor said I got 4 months, you got 4 months, heal me. I'm not saying everyone should do it like this. God was bringing me to a new level of faith. But you know, I didn't see my healing immediately. I prayed. 10 days later, all of a sudden my sugar started to drop. Every 7 days it would drop. Perfect sugar is 120, but up to 150 is okay. It took 3 months, and at the end of 3 months, without ever taking any medicine, my sugar came down to 130 points, and I was healed of diabetes. I've had the same thing with skin disease. I had a skin disease. I prayed. So many other people had instant healings, and yet mine stayed with me. It wasn't because I was walking in sin. We don't always know the reasons of God. I can give you 100 reasons why something might happen, but we don't always know the exact reason. But we stand in faith. We don't look to the issue. We look to the promise of God. I stood in faith crying out for 2 years, watching people get healed instantaneously and not receiving mine. But I knew every day, today's the day of my miracle. If it didn't manifest today, I know in spirit I'm healed. Tomorrow's the day. You see, I don't lie. I don't say, oh, I'm healed when I'm not. That's a lie. We don't need to fake it or defend Jesus. I believe in spirit I'm healed. God heard me. I'm waiting for the physical manifestation. 2 years I cried out. It was so bad. I was bleeding all over my body. You know what I would do? I'd raise my hands at night and use it as an opportunity to glorify God, saying it's easy to glorify Him if I get my miracle. But in the midst of my pain, I'm going to raise my hands to the heaven and say, Jesus, you are Jehovah Rapha, the Lord who heals whether I live or die, whether I receive my healing or not. You are the God of heaven and earth, and you never change regardless of me. I worship you and I glorify you, knowing it's coming. And even if it never came, I give you the glory and the honor and I wait upon you. 2 years went by and I suffered. Do you know, one day, several months ago, I got up and every sore on my body is completely gone. Jesus Christ healed me complete. And the same Jesus will do that for you. But you have to stand in faith. Apart from faith, we can't please God, the Bible tells us in Hebrews 11:6. Stand and believe for a miracle every day. But if you don't see the miracle that day, then you know that tomorrow's the day because you're believing for the healing. Put your faith in Jesus Christ. Don't doubt your God. Doubt your doubt. All things are possible to him who believes. God bless you.